But yeah, you know. There's this interesting play on this diaspora schism that exists. And so I wanted to hear you talk a little bit about that choice and the reasoning behind it.
When I got there, I saw this guy was doing that. I thought I was joking. Took off my tie, my cufflinks, my heel rugbies, put them down nicely, took off my shirt. When I took off my arm, the guy said, no. His voice, is that? Oh, yeah, go. Like, no.
Thank you very much. Ghana Must Go is an initiative that started a year ago. It's a 3-year program that runs as a summer workshop yearly, that has the initiative the vision to incubate a specific number of young professionals, critical thinkers who are striving to change Ghana through our very own individual communities, also through creative thinking and sustainable business models and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to attend Ghana Must Go 1.0, the first edition. This year, 2018, was 2.0, and we were, as Basecamp Initiative, we were very blessed to be able to host such a program with very bright minds bubbling in and out of the hub on a daily basis. As somebody behind the scenes, as a facilitator, as a co-host of the program, I was able to get an insider view on what was actually happening and brewing, and it was very interesting seeing the program evolve from day one to 90 days after, the 3 months, the people that started and stayed from beginning to finish, the people that were able to get critical insights from what was shared, the variety in the content also was very crucial, from documentary screenings to movie screenings to peer-to-peer conversations to personal presentations to master classes, very, very varied content whereby people could associate creativity to different industries or different areas of their lives.
I would say my favorite session throughout the 3 months of the Ghana Must Go Forward experience had to be the research trip to WA. Because I work with textiles and I love to follow the thread of the raw material to the processed good, it was so exciting for me to work with the weavers, like from a single thread to an entire piece. I mean, even what I'm wearing is fabric I got from WA, and I just manipulated it by hand to make something new. And that's how you keep culture alive and fresh. So even though it was at the tail end of our experience, it was definitely my favorite part of Ghana Must Go Forward.
I was quite surprised and then excited too, because I didn't know we would be going to WA. It came as a surprise. But then it was also exciting because I'd long been trying to find out or to get myself a few days off, but there the opportunity came, so it was exciting for me.
I was very excited, but I also thought it was very generous of them to take 20 young people to WA on an all-expense paid trip. I thought it was very generous of them.
It took us about 14 hours, I think 13 and a half hours to get to WA. It was my first time traveling that far, so it was very exhausting. And I was quite scared traveling, at night. I don't like traveling at night, and for long hours like that, it was very scary. But when we got there, I really enjoyed the whole experience.
let you talk.
Make everybody can check the car.
I did a video. My battery has gone down.
So weaving in Wa was was difficult. It was hard. That was the first time we ever did weaving. Well, the first time for me. I'm sure the rest of the crew or the group members was also their first time. But for me, it was very hard.
The thing you notice is like everyone is weaving everywhere. Every single corner you pass, there's always a loom somewhere. There's always some smoke shop. There's always something about Dagaweje in any single corner of Wa.
The group that I was in, we worked with a young woman named Mary who was just hilarious on my case, but definitely a person who 3 years into the game, 3 years into her weaving career, was very knowledgeable and patient enough with us as non-weavers to let us try and experience from the warp to looming to the web to the finished product.
We took 3 days to do what they usually do in a single day, but it was really fun.
We started with calculating number of threads, which was really confusing because I didn't know what we have to calculate threads for. So we got to the last point where the product was with us. Then I realized that, yeah, this is why we have to calculate the threads, get this number of threads to do what, and that number of threads to do which.
From my perspective, or from the way that, from what I observed, you should have a design in mind or a pattern in mind that you want to create. And you obviously need to pick yarn. I learned there are various kinds of yarn. So apart from the kind of yarn that you think will be relevant to the pattern or design you have in mind, you have to select your colors as well. But after doing all of that, you need to warp the yarn and then heddle them in the double heddle loom. And then after all of that process is done, you can start weaving. But mind you, it may sound simple, but it's not simple at all. Weaving is a lot of hard work, and I feel like the people who are engaged or indulge in this activity need to be genuinely rewarded for the work they are doing.
All the process that all the time that I was going through the weaving process, I was just picturing it as putting paint on canvas, which was basically the same for me. I think that is how come I got to see, or I got to capture the thing as an easy thing.
Least stressful process will probably be bobbing the yarn. Yes, it's the least stressful process because I feel like every other process takes a lot of thinking and then also a lot of manual like work. But yeah, bobbing the yarn is quite easy.
The best experience for me weaving was, when I actually had to sit behind the machine and pass the yarns through the shuttling, pulling your feet down, the pedals. That whole process was very like you need a lot of energy. I thought it was something quite easy because seeing the ladies do it, it looked quite easy. But being behind the machine and having to do that myself, I realized it was something else. I needed a whole lot of energy to that. So that was one thing, or that is one thing I really remember, and that's one experience I'll take home.
I was very excited. I mean, I had tried my hands at something that I had never done before, and it went well. So yes, I was very excited. I felt happy to have contributed to. I felt happy to have contributed to to something as beautiful as woven fabric.
Hi, Mary and Cece. I miss you, and I wish I was there. I'm working at the School of the Deaf, but I will try to come by before we leave and come to the party tonight so we can dance.
I also had another project, and that was working with the School of the Deaf. And the fabric was good, but like, working with those girls, that just warmed my heart. Like, so much so that I want to go back and be a part of what they're doing. The first day I met them, unfortunately, their teacher, her son had passed away. So she came and she was like, I know I'm supposed to be here to translate for you, but my son died this morning. Like, he was 2 hours dead. It was so sad. And I was like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. I mean, I didn't know how we were going to figure it out, but I said that we would. And then after she left, the most magical thing happened. Our workshop was over. We went to meet up with the other people in the group who were working with the students who were weaving. We were sewing. And from there, it's like, how do you sign tree, or how do you sign sun, or how do you sign window, or like, all of these things. How do you sign backpack? Like, they showed me all of these signs. And then the next 2 days, because the professor's son had passed away, she wasn't there and we were by ourselves, and we were able to communicate. I would just ask them how to say something, and then out of respect, I would sign it back to them. And it was the most beautiful experience ever. That was my favorite part about WA. The people were lovely, the food was great. I love the camaraderie between the Ghana Must Go Forward members, because it was like our last hurrah as a group and something fun for us to do. But working with the girls at the School of the Deaf, like, has changed the trajectory of my life. Like, I definitely want to include the deaf community in the work that I do with textiles and activism from here on out.
And what was a wonderful experience, from Nubuke to going out with the people to finding out, talking to the weavers and finding out their stories and how they learned and what influences the kind of designs that they make. It was really awesome.
Yes, I absolutely would recommend Ghana Must Go to other people, if not for anything, for the community of like-minded people who are just trying to do their bit to move Ghana forward.
One advice I'll give to creatives is to be hungry, to always want stuff. Be hungry for knowledge, be hungry for skill, connect, collaborate, but always be hungry. Be hungry to know, to become better. Don't never settle for the little that you know, because the Ghana Must Go experience really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I thought I was the king in my little cul-de-sac, but coming out, meeting creatives, people doing all sorts of things, you realize, oh, there's so much I can do. So always be hungry. Never stop being hungry. Always move out, try to learn new things, discover, connect with people. Just constantly be hungry, make yourself better.
A very big thank you to the Nubuke Foundation, to Base Camp Initiative, to everybody, the people I got to meet on a lot of people, crazy people, creative people, brilliant minds, like-minded people, everybody who was on this.
I'm happy that we started on a high note and we ended on a high note, and Ghana indeed will go forward.
His name is wonderful. I know his name. I know his name. I know his name. His name is wonderful. I know his name. I know his name. I know his name. His name is wonderful. I know his name. I know his name. I know his name. His name is wonderful. I know his name.
If anything happens, I'm held responsible.
Charlie, why are they doing the water?
Charlie, the picture is done. Oh, the picture is done? Yeah, the picture is done.
And knows where we are going.
You people have problems. Waya ye, waya ya, waya ye, waya ya, waya ye, waya ye, waya ye, waya ya, waya ye, waya ya, waya ye, waya ya, waya ye, waya ye, waya ye.